See that? That was kind of nice. Oh.
Sweet as. NZFGC podcast is back. I've got my friend Brooke here, aka
What's up,
Miz.
Bailey?
Hey, what's up, man? AKA Mizu. But he goes by a very subtle name now.
Yeah, if you're real old school, you might even know me as Chungus.
Chungus. Yeah. So just give us the introduction, man.
Yo, what's up? I am Brooke. My current tag is ILoveSmokingWeed. And at the moment, I'm jamming Guilty Gear, but in the past, I've played mostly everything that's like popular. Like I started with Smash Melee, but then since then I've played Tekken, I've played Dragon Ball, I've played Guilty Gear Exit, I played Street Fighter 5 for a bit, bit of everything.
Yeah. What did you start off as? What was your first fighting game?
My first fighting game
Or
was
maybe just your first game that you got into.
well, I guess I played like League back in the day, but the first like proper serious game I played was definitely Smash Melee. Back in 2015, I think I started playing that. Yeah.
2015. God, that's a long while.
Well, yeah, I feel like a little bit old school now, but there's still some people that have been around since like the 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But, you're from kind of that... I mean, you play Smash, and I know a lot of the Smash players, they would say that's, like, really old, like, in terms of Smash players.
Yeah, no, that's true, actually. I think, like, out of people who played Smash before me or are involved in the Smash scene before me, there's very few left, for sure.
Would you say... Was gaming always a passion of yours, or was this something that you just kind of discovered?
Definitely, bro. I remember playing like, Pokemon Red when I was like 6 years old or something like that, And then after that, like, when you get your first PC and you're playing all the PC games like Age of Empires 2,
Yeah.
it's a done deal.
Wait, how old are you, Brooke? If you're playing
How
Pokemon
old?
Red, if you're playing 6, wait, where were you born?
I'm 23. I mean,
And you're playing Pokemon Red. Like, people my age started off with Red and Blue. Like, I was thinking, wait, you're not from that era?
No. I mean, like I was pretty poor growing up, so we'd get like a super old school game console or handheld or whatever, and just play like games that came out like 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
How do you find the state of fighting games compared to, say, like other games that you see that are quite popular? We all talk about the fighting game scene being quite niche, but how do you see the fighting games in terms of its health and growth?
Fighting games is really weird, eh? It's like, I feel like it's pretty much like the only super popular competitive scene where like you have to buy a new game all the time. I think that's really what is like a big barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like there's a bunch of... Well, maybe that's not it, actually. I've changed my mind. I think that is a barrier to entry, but that's not the main thing. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fine, though, because I feel like, imagine if we had the scene that was as big as, like, League or, like, even Counter-Strike, Like, those scenes are so, like... so separated, you just do matchmaking into a queue of 4 people who could just be bots and you wouldn't notice the difference. Whereas fighting games, it's like part of what makes it good is I think how small it is. You talk to people in the Discord, you recognize everyone by name.
Yeah. I mean, I think, my next question, you've probably hinted at the possible answer, but each gaming scene offers something unique and kind of personal to everyone. But because you like to play multiple fighting games, what keeps you coming back to the fighting game scene when you play multiple fighting games and you try to be at a particular level at each of them?
I mean, to be honest, I would say that Guilty Gear is like the first fighting game that I've like seriously wanted to be the best at. Like I've like tried in other games, but never really tried, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's because I like actually between Smash Ultimate coming out, I played that for a little bit competitively in like 2019, I want to say. But before, I mean, after that, like from 2020 basically until Guilty Gear Strive came out, I like haven't been playing any fighting games. I hadn't been going to tournaments or anything.
Yeah, no, you've taken a bit of a break. You know, you've had some personal stuff happening.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, different hobbies and getting a lady in your life as well.
Yeah, true.
No,
Yeah, I don't know. But I jammed a little bit of Guilty Gear and like, I don't know, that game's just so good. Like when I first played it, I was like, oh, I actually don't like this game. But then, I don't know, after 2 weeks, I was like, this game is really fun. Started playing in tournaments again, and it was like, I feel like people, I reckon a lot of Tekken 7 players got this when they were like, they hadn't played like in competitively for a long time before Tekken 7, right? Because then Tag 2 was the last one. That was ages before
yeah,
Tekken 7, right? So I feel like a lot of you guys would have got that as well, where it was like entering like serious tournaments for the first time in so long was such a thrill, right? And you remembered how it was and why
yeah,
you loved it so much before or whatever.
yeah. I have very vague memories of our first encounter, and obviously you played Tekken. I met you through Tekken. I had no idea that you were a Smash player, and our paths wouldn't cross that often. And then there was a big period where you kind of just jumped off the wagon, I guess. You know, like I said, you know, you're doing other stuff. You're studying now. How do you find that juggling studying? What are you studying, man?
I'm doing a bachelor's in law and sociology.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
so I don't know. I actually, I don't know if I want to go through that too much.
No, up to you, man.
I didn't. Last year was my first year of study, and because of like COVID and stuff, it was pretty shit.
Yeah,
um, and I didn't end up getting into law school, so that's why I think. I mean, I did this year, so I'm happy about that. But that's really the only reason why I had time to play play Guilty Gear so much this year. So I don't think I'm going to be balancing it with school next year, to be
no,
honest.
fair enough.
Unfortunately.
I can understand studying law demands a lot from you. Like every
Yeah.
year, every intake, it's like your head's always on the chopping block. Do you try to apply that
Yeah.
same persistence when you, like, say, play fighting games to studying in law?
Um, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I feel like fighting games for me is like so much of just like I'm only doing it for fun. I don't know. I've tried like trying to play competitively in the sense before where it's like you're always like trying to push it and like you're trying to play optimally all the time and like trying to push yourself as much as you can. But I don't know. I feel like that's unless you are a very unique person, I feel like that's a recipe for burning out. So for me, like the way think I've managed to keep my motivation up these last 6 months is just by only playing for fun. I don't know.
Yeah. Like when I think of Rambats and when I think of offlines, I know a lot of us go there for the competition, but then some
Yeah.
people just like to go there to hang. It's
Yeah.
there. Like, not everyone treats it like competition. And I think with some people, they always think of people attending, they expect competition.
Yeah.
But, you just want to go there and hang out with friends sometimes. You don't want to go in there. Yeah.
And I mean, I would say that like even the most competitive players, still like or maybe not the main thing, but it's still like a very important thing for them to like enjoy the scene as well. You know, it's
Yeah.
part of what motivates them to be competitive players.
Did you think the Guilty Gear representation was quite strong? Like, I guess leading up to kind of October, November, where we're kind of going through our quiet period right now, because the representation of Guilty Gear Strive players was really strong. You had people like yourself, Aloof playing, Dog, who's a Soul Calibur player. Like, it really just seemed to kind of bring a lot of players from other games together.
Yeah, I think that is like almost like a rollback thing, to be honest. Like it's the first fighting game that you can actually play online, in my opinion. Every other fighting game, like if you want to take it seriously, competitively, you don't want to play online because it becomes such like a roll of the dice on connections and whatnot. Like I'm sure the Tekken guys like really disliked running all their tournaments online last year, right?
Yeah, it was definitely not ideal. Would
Yeah.
would you say you've had pretty much no bad experience with playing online Strive?
Oh, it's crazy. I enter like every week I on Wednesdays I enter Derek's Strive tournament, and he's in based in Melbourne, I believe. And like I'll play against people from Western Australia, and the connection is completely fine. It's totally playable. Yeah, so I don't know. I've never really had any particularly bad experience with it, and I think it's like amazing for what you can do with like playing seriously online. You know?
Yeah. Well, I know you said you are focusing on you studying law at the moment. Who is a problematic player on your radar right now?
Problematic player, like in what sense?
However you want to interpret it, whether it's a personal thing, whether they just use, like do you have any bad NZFGC matchups, or is there someone that's
Um,
kind of your demon at the moment?
my demon? Hmm, that my demon and Strive? Nah, I don't know. I think maybe um no, I don't think so. I don't know. It's just like everyone's good for their own reasons. No one's like good because they're good at beating me. I don't think I'm even good enough at the game to like have someone be considered my demon. If anyone's beating me consistently, it's just because they're better than me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, and
But
what?
maybe I'm Waz's demon, you know. Seems like I'm the only one who can beat him.
Yeah, what, like Strive's been out for maybe like a year or less.
6 months.
6 months. Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's
Yeah.
doing. I think it's doing exceptionally well, and the fact that it's got rollback, I've tried it. I wish so many more games had that. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, for real. I mean, it does seem like rollback's the way things are going. Like Arxis just added rollback to Blaze Blue, which I know a lot of people were really popping off for. People were jamming that heaps in the Discord lately. Um, and I'm sure other games coming out will also have rollback. I know Melty Blood had rollback, even though that wasn't like a very good rollback. It's still like a shift for like the fighting game industry, I suppose.
Yeah. So tell me your plan of attack. Like, you're studying law. What do you
Mm.
see happening at the very end? Like, have you got any plans you're trying to make?
Uh,
We're just figuring it out as
no,
you go.
yeah, mostly figuring it out as I go. To be honest, I got things in my head, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we miss you, man. It's always good to see you around those. I think I saw you like maybe two or three times, like leading up
Yeah,
to the end of the year, for Strive. And I wasn't playing Strive, but we played. I decided
yeah, we
to enter.
did.
Yeah, I know. I entered Strive. The second week of release, and I thought people would still be learning the game. Oh no, oh no! I found out very quickly. What,
Yeah, I think we played first round losers, and I quadruple perfected.
bro? Like 30 seconds or even less. I was just like, I thought people were still learning this game.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, but it is fun. It is great. I'm taking a note
yeah,
from Waz's book, Tahitoa. I love Chip. I love his speed, but I know his low life is a bit of an issue.
he's my second character. He's definitely very like hard to be consistent with.
Mm.
I wouldn't play him.
No, you wouldn't play him. Well, I mean, Kai's more of the all rounder, right? Like if you want to learn the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
I
for
guess
sure.
he's an ideal character. We'll get back to Kai and some Guilty Gear stuff, but I want to go kind of touch an issue regarding your name. Obviously, I
Okay.
love smoking weed. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you love smoking weed. No, because it's an interesting topic, and it's really, it can be difficult finding the right person to engage in such a topic with. But I think you're quite the ideal person because
Yeah.
weed, cannabis. I mean, yeah, it's that kind of shady topic that we all know about, but we never address it. I mean, I know we all know people who do it and people who don't. And I think a lot of people were really keen to get it legalized. You know, when that whole
Yeah.
referendum thing got on, there's so many things that happened, and I kind of want to get your take on it because you love weed. I don't mind weed. I've never tried it, but hey, you know.
Oh, really?
No, never. But it's just that whole thing of, you know, like what benefits could it bring to, you know, stuff that you do in your personal life, in your work life, or even a social activity like the NZFGC? Like, are there liabilities, or could there be some huge benefits?
Yeah, it is like that's a big topic of discussion, and like the I love smoking weed tag. I mean, I do have to come clean. I don't even smoke that much weed. I smoke a little bit, not that much.
Come on, you can't have a name like that and just no.
No, the reason the tag first came to be was I don't know. It was upcoming to the referendum, so it was like just a I don't know, a political decision, I guess. And then the reason I decided to stay with it was because it didn't pass. Like the referendum didn't pass, so I was
Yeah,
like, okay, I'll just keep the tag until it gets legalized, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, for tags, I think the reason I went with the tag was just because I prefer to people to just know me as Brooke. I think, you
yeah,
know, I don't want to be like just a gamer that people know of. You know, like if someone knows me through the FGC and they're my friend, then they're my friend in real life, not just in the FGC. I think.
exactly. Yeah,
But
but yeah, the weed,
on
bro, the weed.
okay, yeah, on weed, it's like I don't know. It seems so strange to me to ever like want to prohibit it. Like even if you consider like comparable drugs, it's like alcohol. You know, is much worse for people than weed is in terms of like what it does to you physically, the whether it's addictive or not. You know how like it can destroy families. You know that doesn't really happen through weed. Like I'm sure someone can fuck themselves over if they're abusing weed for sure.
Yeah,
But then the net negative versus the net positive is just like it's a no-brainer to me. And if you compare it to other comparable substances like alcohol, it's like why is that legal? You know?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you've got alcohol, you've got other hard substances, and people will be like,
Yeah,
it's their thing where like, oh, you know, they say, oh, you know, like fuck, he's like, I'd rather, you know, you're like, oh, I'm glad it's not ecstasy. You know, if it's dope, then it's okay. Um, yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, we use it for medicinal reasons. I don't
yeah.
personally
I mean,
mind if people like it's a recreational tool for people. It's a nice way of socializing, just like
yeah,
alcohol is. I really don't mind it. I was really surprised when the results didn't reflect that.
yeah.
I was
And I
really like,
think
what?
the laws at the moment are just not really fit for purpose. It's like, you know, not to really talk too much and dox my family, but like, you know, one of my family members is like, they need to smoke weed essentially because painkillers are not enough for their condition,
Yeah,
and they're prescribed to smoke weed essentially, right? Like they're legally allowed to smoke weed because the doctor says that it would actually be helpful for them. But the only way they can get it, besides getting like extremely extortionate, expensive, like weed from like a government source or whatever, they have to go to like the black market, right?
yeah,
That's the only way to affordably get it if you need it to survive, you know, or you need it for like a medical condition.
yeah.
And I think that's just obscene. It's an injustice.
I think if they did ever legalize it, I mean, it is possible that I mean you'd have to have licensed places
Yeah,
that could sell it.
yeah,
People, you know, like you might think alcohol shops, and you might think that's a bit inappropriate, but then I mean they sell smokes, they sell vapes.
yeah.
It's not a bad, it's not a harsh like jump to
Uh huh.
go to sell weed, and then people go, oh, but then that's harmful. Like, you know, you've got someone who's got weed and someone who's got booze, but it's like, yeah, but weed doesn't actually make you like weed doesn't make you into a raging, you know,
Yeah,
like it
exactly.
mellows you out, you know.
Yeah. I mean, like, even, yeah, there's like the classic statistic that, like, when the All Blacks lose, domestic abuse skyrockets. You know, that's not because the All Blacks lost, that's because they're all drinking while they're watching the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't mind it. But you know, would you encourage like say in the next few years, if if they ever look at that referendum act again, what would you suggest that they could like?
Well,
the votes were cast, so obviously the decision's been made. But
yeah.
what do you think it was wrong? Do you think it was a bit like because they paired it with the euthanasia as well? Do you feel like that kind of divided the attention?
Not really. I was pretty politically involved during that time, and I don't really think that either of those bills had much interaction there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I did think there was like some odd stuff politically, like I don't know if the ACT Party is a rather libertarian party, and I would think that legalizing weed is a pretty libertarian thing to do, but they didn't really get on board with that, which I thought was somewhat odd, but not really,
Do you prefer to smoke it, or do you prefer to like have it as a hash cake or something?
I have a vaporizer actually.
Oh, yeah?
So I vape it. Yeah, that's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Actually though, I did get some edibles for Christmas, and they were pretty fire.
Nice. That's sweet. Okay.
Yeah, man.
So Guilty Gear Now, they just had it was a while ago, but they had the Happy Chaos trailer. Showcasing how that character works and stuff. Any impressions from yourself or from the NZFGC?
It's interesting. I don't really care. I think he doesn't look that good to me. He's not my kind of character either. But I know like Blackout and Waza, who are like obviously the strongest players here, they are quite interested in him. Some people say he's like got a lot of potential. Some people say he's dog shit. I honestly think he's kind of bad. And I think all the DLC characters that have come out are kind of bad so far. So it wouldn't be that surprising to me if he doesn't ever
really?
develop to his potential.
Gold Lewis and Jacko.
Yeah, Gold Lewis. I think Jacko's like definitely not very good. Gold Lewis is a weird one because he seems not very good, but he also gets some kind of good results. Like I don't know if you watched Red Bull Kumite, but Gobo won that, and he won the finals with Gold Lewis. So, But I think that speaks to the balance of the game, honestly, because I think that the balance of the overall game is so good that even the worst characters like have a real competitive shot. Yeah.
What is our character representation like for Strive? So we have some Millias. We've got Kai's. A chip or two.
Yeah, I would say we used to be like Milia City, but now not so much. It's basically just two of them that I can think of. I think we got pretty solid representation overall. There are a few characters that are like weirdly without reps, like Leo, for example, doesn't have any representation. And Soul, while there's like a few Soul players that come and go, and Reap Your Face is like a strong Soul, there's not like any top tier Souls, despite the character being really good. But yeah, we got Nagos and Chips.
There's a lot of Nagos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in New Zealand, the only really powerful Nago is Crazy Head for sure.
Yep.
But I mean, maybe that just speaks to like the skill level overall. But in Australia, there's a million Nagos. Yeah.
And considering what you're saying that the DLC characters aren't that strong, Kai being an all-rounder doesn't really have an issue with any of them, does he?
No, I would go so far as to say that Kai has winning matchups against basically all the DLC characters for sure.
Okay, see.
Yeah.
Good. It is weird though that there's not much Kai like Soul representation. Like he's the main character.
Okay. Well, wait. Do you mean like in the game?
Well,
how do you mean?
I don't really see like I mean I don't really see him much in the tournaments if ever. Yeah.
Yeah. For New Zealand and even Australia, actually, there's not many souls. I think like overseas in Japan and America, there's a bunch of souls. Kai is kind of weird. Kai has like a few players, but he's like way not, or at least in the eyes of the community, he's not considered nearly as good as Soul.
Okay.
So it's pretty odd, but I don't know. Again, I think it speaks to the balance of the game.
Yeah. Do you fear that, like, judging from their character, like, designs and the battle system, it seems they've had a very clear view on the direction of where they want this game to go. Have you ever felt like, has there been any point where you've thought that thing, because I mean, we thought as a Tekken player it was kind of the same thing, like the balancing was actually pretty strong. Got to season 2, some characters had some really ridiculous things, almost everyone had ridiculous things, and then season 3
Yeah, I remember
was
Leroy
just,
came out.
yeah, and then it was season 3, it was like no, only the favorites get the buffs. So have you ever had a moment like that with the development of the game?
I think so far I've liked all the changes, or the balance of changes so far seem really good. But Arxis and the anime community have like kind of like a reputation for really poor balancing decisions. So in like Guilty Gear Xrd, for example, that when they went from Rev 1 to Rev 2, they buffed Johnny, who was already considered like widely the best character in the game. So everyone was a little bit confused about that.
Okay. Well,
but I don't know. The changes seem good so far. I'm pretty contented. They seem to be doing very small changes, which I'm kind of a fan of. I think I don't really like it when games change a lot, to be honest. I prefer the meta to develop naturally rather than be changed.
Fair enough. Well, I won't talk about. Well, it's not Johnny. I'm going to mention. It's going to be a certain character that AI, who was on previously, mentioned. It was like people love this character, but they say they love this character, but they don't actually play them. And I'm talking about Baiken. Now, was anyone actually like surprised at this? Was anyone not?
Oh, that Baiken was announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like it's almost it was the perspective I have is that it was inevitable. Essentially, like the character is just like an icon for the game. People will talk about Baiken without ever playing Guilty Gear. So it's just like, I don't know, she's just too popular to not be a DLC character.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. I don't really care about her, to be honest. So I'm not super excited for her either, but I don't know.
Do you remember anything about her from Xrd? Like, was there anything in relation to your matchup, Baiken versus Kai?
Oh, I didn't play Kai in Xrd. I played Alpha. Oh. Yeah. I was Alpha for life. She's my favorite fighting game character of all time. But we didn't really have any Baiken in New Zealand. We had King Kong Ben. He played Baiken for a bit, but he was mostly Johnny, and he played a bit of Soul, I think. Maybe someone else. But yeah, so I never really played the Baiken matchup that much, so I don't really remember her from Xrd.
Okay, alright.
I know I as a Baiken player, but he started playing like way after Rev 2 was like already dead, so I never played against him in Rev.
Mm-hmm. So how many characters are remaining for this season pass? So you got 3. Was there one more or 2?
I think there's 2 more, right? Yeah. No. Wait, I think Baiken might actually be the last one. No. Sorry, no. There's one more character after Baiken, and that's coming with like additional story and shit as well.
So do you have a guess as to who this...
Yeah, I will literally bet like $100 that it's going to be Asuka.
Why do you think Asuka?
Oh, because Asuka's like a heavily featured character in the story mode. Every other character that's come out, Happy Chaos, Gold Lewis, Jacko, Baiken's the only one that wasn't heavily featured in the story mode. So we've already seen like Asuka's models and shit in the story mode. And like he's in the opening cinematic and stuff, and he's the only character in the opening cinematic that's not playable. So, and if they're releasing like extra story stuff, it's going to be involving him. So it's just like a natural thing that he's going to come out with the DLC. Yeah,
that's true. Hopefully, it might involve Baiken as well.
Maybe.
Alrighty. So yeah, 2021. It's been such an interesting year. Good time for Strive players having to play from home. Yeah, how do you feel? I'm segueing into something specific, but how do you think 2021 has been for you personally?
2021 for me personally, I don't know. I got real into Guilty Gear, which was like, I don't know, almost like a coping mechanism. Like, I don't know, lockdown sucks, especially when you're doing classes. Like, I don't know, I couldn't focus on uni at all, so I just put all my time into Guilty Gear, and it like just distracted me from the fact I was like, I was struggling.
So had you, if things were normal, would you have finished already, or did you still have time to go?
If things were normal, I mean, my year probably wouldn't have changed that much, really.
All right.
Yeah.
And how do you think 2021 has been for the NZFGC?
It seems to me like a lot of people, I don't know, it's hard for me to gauge because I didn't play for like a while before COVID. But it seems like a lot of people have lost motivation to like really grind fighting games.
Yeah.
Because even with, in my opinion, Guilty Gear being completely playable at a serious level online, it's like it's a different beast, right? When you're playing online, even in good connection, and when you're playing at an event, right? Like you got people around you, and like you got to sit down right next to your opponent. It's like
Yeah.
it's a different environment.
Yeah.
And I think that having that environment really motivates people. They see their mates popping off and shit, and they're like, I want to do that too. And I know a lot of Guilty Gear players that probably would have been grinding now if they held offlines, but they didn't
Yeah.
because they just can't get motivated for onlines like they can for offlines. And I feel like I see that in a lot of the scene as well. It's just like the general passion and competitive spirit has it's weakened a little bit, and I don't know, I think that's a natural thing given the circumstances.
That was my segue, bro. Because like being locked down, I guess, for like a month or two, and then to have Nats announced, which you did really great, by the way.
No,
But
thanks, bro.
before the announcement, I wasn't really invested, and that's really sad to say, considering
Yeah.
this was supposed to be like the big anniversary, and it was just online. It really undermined the occasion. No discredit to the StandingFierce boys, I love what they do, but
Yeah.
I wasn't fully invested, and I hated feeling that way because after it was all done, I was just like, this is the reason why I don't like online. But
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, I think StandingFierce like did a great job, and they've been doing amazing, at least for Guilty Gear. Like Dave runs like a weekly on Tuesdays for us, and like having that and the damager points and the and nationals as well. I think all that together was like a saving grace, really. And like I think Dave especially is a godsend for that, you know.
Yeah, that's why I said you guys have. That's why I said the Strive scene's been going really strong, because you guys almost
Yeah.
have like an event every month, if that.
Yeah,
like
no.
Yeah.
And like I've run tournaments as well, and like we can all enter the Australian tournaments as well. So it's like I don't know. It's not comparatively speaking, it's really not that bad being a Strive player compared to what I imagine it's like being a Tekken player.
Yeah. Yeah, just a quick recap on Southern Cross Up 2021. Your run, like, how did you feel you went? I mean, obviously you know how you felt, but just like,
Honestly, I don't know. I'm like, it's the first time I've gotten top 8. Well, I got third place in the PS4 version, and then I got 7th place in the PC version. And I'm like, I should probably be happy about that, but I'm like pretty not happy about it. So in the PS3 one, I think is like kind of like we all were just entering really for the damager points. I don't think anyone was taking that bracket as seriously. So like while I did well and I got third, it didn't feel that fulfilling for me. Even though it's a good result for the PC tournament. So that was like really rough because I played against Crazy Head second round, and I had never beaten Crazy Head before. In fact, I hadn't really even come close. But I grinded so hard with the Australian Nuggos, specifically this guy called Explosive Fart, who's like a super cool dude, and he like grinded super hard with me, and I managed to beat him. I managed to beat him for the first time, and then I lost to Blackout in a pretty close set, And then, so I was in losers top 8. So I had to play Crazy Head again. I don't know how the brackets ended up like that, but I had to play Crazy Head essentially twice in a row. And yeah, he beat me in the run back, and I was like so I'm still pretty bummed out that I didn't manage to pull that one out. And I also beat him in the PS3 tournament as well, which, again, wasn't as serious, but I beat him 2 times outside of top 8, and then on the when the one that really counted, I couldn't pull it out. It was quite frustrating.
See, and if this was offline, more hype, more suspense,
Yeah.
but then more nerves because there's so much more on the line, especially when it's in person. Like that would have, it would have been great if it was offline.
I actually, interesting on the nerves point. I really don't think that tournament. I think I've dealt with tournament nerves. I don't know. I don't think tournament nerves really.
I mean,
affect how I play.
You've played a lot of games. You've been on stage for stream a lot of times. I doubt someone like you would have nerves at this point.
Yeah, I mean, some people say that they never get rid of nerves. They just learn how to deal with them better. I don't know. I just don't really feel very nervous anymore.
But in a way, it's good
tournaments.
because it just lets you know that you actually do care about not wanting to fuck up.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just because my outlook has changed. Like now I'm just playing for fun. So it's like the fun is winning for sure, but it's not such a big deal if I lose. I don't know.
But are there other things? You are playing for fun, but are there any things that you still want to accomplish? Be it Guilty Gear or your leveling up playstyle in general?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I mean that's the thing. I don't think fun and wanting to be the best are mutually exclusive. I still want to be the best because I find that fun, but it's I think the main thing that changes is the kind of how intense you go at it. I don't know. I still pop off really hard when I beat someone better than me.
Yeah.
And I'm still grinding really hard. I'll play, I don't know, I think I play an average of 3 hours per day, which is probably not as much as I should be if I want to win Damager, but I think I'm still working fairly hard at the game.
Yeah. So you definitely are putting some work into Damager. You're going to make sure that you're ready.
Yeah, man. I didn't
Just
quite manage to.
What I'm saying is, don't smoke too much weed before D-Day. Okay, just be chill,
yeah.
be yourself. You'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. Probably take a wee break from that. But I didn't manage to qualify through points, so I actually have to.
You got to do the last chance.
Qualify through the last chance. Yeah, so
yeah,
that's pretty stressful. That I have to essentially win a tournament to get into the tournament.
Well, you have won a few other Strife tournaments, like we've seen. The last one that Dave hosted on his channel, and Justin Wenzy. So
I got second in that Dave tournament because I lost Raging Ranger in the end.
Oh, bugger.
The Justin tournament was kind of it was a bit cheeky. Me and Ethan Zero Work. We were in another tournament that started, and we were taking that one a bit more seriously. So we decided going into grand finals of Justin's tournament that we were going to do no blocking.
Oh, okay. I see this now.
If you watch the video, if people watch the video that you have up right now, then you can see me and Ethan just running at each other, just DPing like crazy.
Now wait, wouldn't that be a form of match fixing? Because you're okay, if you don't block, I don't block, and let's just roll
I suppose.
with it.
I suppose it's a casual tournament, I guess.
Okay. Well, that was good. Sorry, man.
No, I was just gonna say I did get a $25 prize, but I just decided to gift Justin 5 subs in response. He's the man, and I don't know if you guys have seen Justin's stream, but he's insanely entertaining. So I'd recommend you check it out.
No, I will do, man. It was good to just talk to you about the whole the attitude kind of simmering down and people not as engaged to practice, because there is something I'm very happy to talk to you about. It's this Project L business.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are saying that this is finally the FGC getting its money's due you know, because to have a company like Riot, or to have a fighting game associated with a brand like League of Legends is quite something. And you know, if you're a League of Legends fan, I mean, for me, it's going to be seeing League of Legends players try to play this fighting game, and then they come. It's like, no, like this is a fighting game. Like this is our school. You coming to my classroom.
You know, I think that's funny. I think that I actually I hear that a lot from people, but I'm not sure. I don't know. League players are absolute grinders. Like I don't know. Even like there were some League players who were playing Strive when it first came out, and they got pretty decent. I feel like League players could get really good at fighting games really quick.
Yeah, I don't understand the mindset or the skill level of a League of Legends player. Obviously you would have more understanding than me. It's just interesting because they played the legit game, but their skills don't transfer because it's just a different game, a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Do you really see League of Legends players actually picking this game up and actually being a challenge to, say, people like Blackout, Crazy Head, yourself if you picked up the game?
No, I mean, well, I mean, I look at it like, Mugai, for example. Mugai is a Kai player in New Zealand, and he had never entered any game until Strive came out, and he's got wins over Crazy Head. He's got wins over Blackout. Um, I don't know. I think like I honestly think that fighting games, because they're much smaller and because like I don't know, there's less prize in it and whatever, the people who play fighting games just don't grind as hard as like League of Legends players. I think like the skill level, the general skill level in MOBAs or whatever, or like even games like CS is way higher than in fighting games. I think like if Faker wanted to, I think he could go pro in Street Fighter 5 easily, you know? Like the work ethic is just like on a different level.
I guess the main thing I'm trying to push is that people will think that this is good for the NZFGC. Like a fighting game based on League of Legends, Project L, if it's done right and we can see it's being, you know, manned by the Cannon brothers, which is really good. Like, the big question is, will this change the FGC? Will this actually be a potential, like, will this be a chance for money to be made for the FGC especially?
I don't know. That's like really a time will tell kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna play it. I think it'll be fun. And I think it will like expose a lot of people to the FGC for sure. I don't know if it's gonna be as big as people think it might be though.
I wouldn't want it to be a blimp where people will play it because they know League of Legends, but then after a week they don't really invest in it.
Yeah.
But
well, I think that's like heaps of fighting games in general anyway, right?
Yeah. But I think the Cannon brothers are doing it right. It's like, I think they're just trying to make it as easy and accessible as possible, just so if it catches the right people, then they can, you know, then there can be that growth and development. I don't play League of Legends, but are you a fan of this artwork for the game?
Yeah, I think it looks great. I actually, I ratioed myself the other day because I tweeted like all fighting games except anime fighting games look dog shit, and then the next day the Project L trailer came out, and I ratioed myself by saying like I got it wrong because this game looks so good.
It does, yeah.
But like to the accessibility, I think that's it could be like really cool in that way. I feel like a lot of fighting games have like tried you know, simplifying the system mechanics or whatever. Like Strive's a good example of that. You go from Exart, it's like overloaded with system mechanics in my opinion, and Strive is relatively simple. And I think that I do like that movement for me personally, but it seems like a lot of like the more complex stuff that some people really love about fighting games is kind of moving away. But at least watching this trailer, we don't see much, but like you can see the movement, and you can see like it looks like there's going to be assists, and like you can do like layered mix and stuff like that. So you know, I think that it could, even though it'll be accessible with like the execution wise, there's going to be a lot of like depth to the game. Hopefully.
Yeah, I just loved watching the reaction videos to this, where people, once they saw the tag feature, they're like, "Oh, yo, Marvel! Yeah, I'm in." Yeah,
exactly. It's like, I mean, that's the thing though as well. I found Dragon Ball is like a super fun game for me. and like I'm sure it got a lot of people into the scene. But I feel like if you're like a new player and you try play Dragon Ball, like you're just gonna get your shit pushed in because it's a tag game. You know, you're gonna get comboed for 3 rounds straight. All your characters are just gonna die. So I hope that doesn't dissuade too many of the new players.
Yeah.
and that it's a tag game, but I don't know. I got hope. Yeah.
If they had an open beta for this, would you be interested, or would you?
No, I never.
Or, would you,
I
or do
never
you
play
have
open
feedback
betas.
already?
No, I don't know. I'm not someone who like wants to kind of like shape games. I guess I'd rather just like someone hand me the finished product. I'll jam it. If I like it, I'll keep playing. If I don't, I'll just throw it away. You know. It's like when Mousy Blood came out. I played that for like I think like 10 hours. I decided I didn't like it, so I stopped. I don't like people like it, and if someone else enjoys it, then it can stay the way it is. I'm sure if I don't like Project L, then heaps of other people will enjoy it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be made for me.
Well said, Brooke. All right, I'll take you to your final questions, man.
Rock and roll.
Sweet as. Ooh, that's my notification. All right, first one. What's your favorite fighting game soundtrack?
Fighting game. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it probably is Exerd. Like, there's just some banger tracks from that. Marionette, the Elf Out theme, is probably my favorite fighting game track of all time. So yeah, I'll say Exerd Rev 2.
All right, next one. If you sold marijuana under an alias, what would it be?
I sold marijuana under an alias. I don't know. I would have to think about that one. Maybe it would just be like I love smoking weed. You know, I think
alright.
that's pretty topical.
Yeah. All right. What's the weirdest proposition you've been given?
Weirdest proposition. No, I can't think of anyone for that.
No? I'll give you one. I was in town once and this guy gave me $20 if I could hold his bike while he went into this dairy. But the thing is, he didn't even go to the dairy. He like walked off, and I was like, "Oh, so what do I?" Like,
You just got a free bike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not so bad.
Yeah, just weird.
Yeah, that's
All
weird.
right. And what sucks about Kai Keys?
Okay. So everyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Kai Up player. The general consensus is that he's like a middle of the road character. I think he's top 5. So generally, I'm not talking about what sucks about Kai, but there is definitely a lot of things that suck. Him having counter hit recovery on his fireball is so stupid. Like, if I want to throw a fireball, what's the reward I'm going to get? Like, you get hit at max, I get like what, 20 damage in shock state. Whereas if I get hit, I'm taking a full 50% combo because I'm in counter hit recovery. What's up with that? Oxus, get at me.
All right. And then finally, Brooke, who is your waifu?
All right. Waifu. If people who know me, who have played sets with me, they've all seen my arcade stick, right?
Yes.
You've seen my arcade stick.
Of course.
With Tiger Eye Sucker from Toradora on it. Yeah, so I don't know if I would say she's my waifu, but to answer the question, I'll go with Tiger for sure.
Oh, sorry. Well, that's a first for us. Yeah, thank you, Brooke. I love smoking weed, formerly Mizu. You know, it's good to have you on the platform, dude. Is there anything that you want to say? Do you have any shout outs or last words? Do you want to let the people know what you'll be doing and what you'll be getting up to?
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to first of all, I don't know, it's a bit cheesy, but I want to shout out my girlfriend. I don't know, my girlfriend Sarah. She's just been like over the last few years with COVID and stuff. It's been rough, and she's just been.
Hey,
light
she's
in
the reason
dark,
you've
you
been
know?
gone for so long, man. I don't know if I thank her, but nah, it's all good.
But yeah, also like a shout out to StandingFierce and Dave. Like they just do absolutely fantastic work. I, on my shirt in the picture that you have for me, you can actually see it says think ahead, and then under that it says party vote. next election, vote for the Green Party if you don't already. But other than that, get vaccinated, wear your mask. Yeah.